we're just doing that little challenge, Rodri, just for the month of January. Now, if I said, I'm going to do this for a year, I wouldn't have done it. But for the remainder of January, I think it's... I'm stuck, brother. No worries, I think I can invite you anyway. Okay, let's see. Accept. It'll come up. There we go. Way!
Sweet. Sorted.
Man,
Yeah, you're lucky.
It's quite new for this. It's quite new for you, this, isn't it?
Doing
it live.
Can I? Oh, that's fair. I think I can hear you now.
Move you down.
Yeah,
a bit.
that's fair. Cool.
Okay.
How do?
Mate, I'm all right. How are you? I'm looking forward to this one. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Been full on.
I'm proper jealous of your setup. It's class, man.
You'll get it, man. You'll get it. You'll get it.
Yeah.
It's manifesting it, and like how it's come along is just I got out of my own way, to be honest. I didn't know what to do at the time. I was stuck when I'd gone through what I'd been through with this awakening, and I was kind of, with all the information in front of me, I like a dog with two dicks. I wanted to go and take on the world, and I couldn't. It were physically impossible. It were depleting me of all energy because I was so sporadic, and I was like, this something's got to give here. And the thing is, like, I went into a personal ceremony with mushrooms, and I just surrendered myself. I said, I'll let me sort of get out of my own way and show me what I need to be doing. And then I was building this podcast room at the time to do Venetian plastering. And it's not something there where all my soul were in it. I knew it wasn't. Yeah. But it were going to pay me. And it's something that I do enjoy doing. It's just not something. It wasn't align into how my path will going. And then it showed me the 108. I'd searched that up, jotted down the logo, and then it just went from strength to strength there with idea after idea of how I wanted to bring it to life. Because I think what it also had is when the awakening were happening, I was very cut off from people because it was quite fast how it happened, and I didn't make it look easy in any way, shape or form, and I pushed a lot of people away. So I couldn't really have meaningful conversations with people. So the podcast ties up to that. I can have meaningful conversations with people, and it's sparking me up, and I'm also helping other people because they're listening to what we're saying. So it's an all around. I think for the creative mindset that I've had in recent years, it's all the things that I want to bring to life. I'm making them connections on the podcast as we're going along. So it's a beautiful thing.
When did you start? When did you start that, mate? Was that the one?
When did I start?
Yeah, it was recent.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because I've been telling myself a story recently that it happened mainly, like the big crash of it happening was when we got in the house. But when the production guy who does production for 108 Floor, he came over and he went, "Are you into crypto?" And I says, "Yeah." And I says, "Do you know what? You've just sparked it up in me." I says, "When I got told about XRP years ago on this job, and when he told me about XRP, I'd never heard about it before. I'd heard about Bitcoin, and I went on this deep dive. So it was probably 5 years ago. Went on this deep dive to find out about XRP and found out all these truths or whatever, how banking works, how I was flabbergasted. And when I went into the roots of it all, then it put me onto this guy called Crypto Teacher, and he was telling you how the world works and how it's all finance, and how I went down this deep rabbit hole of like conspiracies, but a lot of it's come to light. And through he was saying that COVID run up and all these other things that happened. So yeah, it took us through that. So it was all the deep diving of all all the bad stuff first, and it got to a point of I couldn't do that anymore. It was too much low vibe. Like, no one wanted to be around me. I didn't even want to be around myself because everything was conspiracy. And now I've got to have, there's got to be something to take my power back. You know, I didn't know what it was at the time. It was like, because we were so busy on the house when we were building this house. We bought. Sorry if I'm rabbiting left, right, and centre here. We bought a house.
No, you're good. You're good, brother.
In middle of COVID, and we'd moved back with us, which there's me, Zoe, and my son Archie, who were only 2 at the time. We'd moved in with mum and dad. Well, we'd renovated this bungalow into a 3-bed house. So all that were going on. And I was working round clock in between looking at the conspiracies and stuff. But when we finally got in the house, which it is in our essence, it's our dream house, it's what we've built. And when we finally got into the house, there was this depression that set in, because when we'd finally moved in and we thought it's all sunshine and rainbows, it were like a trap door. I were just I were pulling everything in the house. It were either I was snagging it, and I was never happy with it. And she went, "You just don't like this. What's up with you?" And I was like, "This isn't perfect. This isn't perfect." And I didn't know what it was at the time. Until after the awakening, I realised I was looking for everything externally that were wrong, and it were internal. It was that I'd gone out of balance with myself. I wasn't in tune with who I wanted to be or who I'm supposed to be. So I remember it had gone on for about 6 weeks once we got in the house, and it was really beating Zoe up because she's seen how down I was. I didn't want to speak. Obviously, I've got everything that I ever thought I wanted or needed. Like I have a young family. Beautiful house, it all going for me. Business is good, and I just didn't feel like I didn't want to be here, mate. I've never felt like that. I've never felt like I wanted to not exist, because I was like, if this is all the pinnacle of everything that I thought, why isn't there any wholeness here? There was nothing. I felt empty, and obviously for Zoe to see that and see me in them states of complete silence, or I take myself up to bed at 7 o'clock at night. Once I actually go down to bed, I went to bed, so I just didn't want to be. I didn't know what it was. And I remember being at the bottom of my bed one night, and I've just done. I was sobbing. I didn't want to be here. And I've never prayed before. I have prayed over silly little stuff when you're a kid. If you wanted something,
please can I have that?
Need some.
Please can I have that new Xbox, God?
Yeah, definitely. And I can't say that I didn't do that a couple of times when I was younger, but I remember just in tears. I need some answers. I need some reason to be here. And then that, like, instantly over the next few nights, I was waking up at your the synchronicity times, like 3, 3, 3, 5, 5, 5, and it were too much to ignore. Because at first you're thinking, the fuck's going on here? It's happening too many times, consecutive days. And obviously then things were happening in my life that were just profound, really. It's hard to put your finger on it, and I wish I'd have journaled more than I did. I did journal a lot, but life was still busy. But the only thing that would tie me back to is I'd read The Secret years before, and when I read The Secret, things were happening instantaneously with that. So I'd kind of seen it, how things were working. I always knew there was something else, but didn't know what it was. And then I don't know. It's opened my eyes to so much more. And like even meeting yourself and Smudge. You seem to meet one person you connect with, and then you just onto it. And once you're open to that, it's that intelligence or love. We all connect because we've all been in the similar situations, and I think we connect on the pain, and that's where it brings in the compassion to connect people who disconnected. I think that's why. I mean, sometimes I think it's a bit cheesy what I have put on the wall about, okay, you can't break the connection is love. But that's what I truly believe is if we can get in the heart centre, and if we are connected, no one feels left out because they feel the love. And you can make that a little change in your life with anyone on a daily basis, just by passing someone in the street, making a comment, or like a compliment, something that makes them feel heard and seen. That's love. Just little. It doesn't have to be a hug. You know what I mean? Although that is a good way of doing it.
Yeah. And for those
Sorry,
who
I'm like a machine.
No, it's all right. I love it. For those who are listening, like, you know, when we say the foundation of the universe is love, you know, think of that as harmony, you know, and harmony is just another word for love. The universe it has to be in a harmonial state. That is its natural state. But mate, God, there's so much to uncover here, unpack this.
Yeah.
I think me and you could probably talk for hours and hours, but I want to try and keep it under an hour. And I'd love to chat with you again, brother. But there's so much to unpack. So that was like your 5 years, and mate, so much can happen in 5 years, can't it? I mean, so much can happen in 5 minutes, mate. Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's been insane. Like, I think it's because my mentality is with stuff. If I uncover one little bit, or if I get a bit of success with something, I'm all in, and that's just that's how I am. That's how I'm being created, I think. So when everyone's like, you're being full on, I need to take it as far as I can go one way with it. I'm learning to go a bit more gradually into stuff now, but I think you don't when like Buddhists and stuff say find your middle way. I think my soul goes, let's stretch it out as far as it can go that way, and then I know where middle is.
Well, I mean, I think that's a good thing for as long as if you're going all in and out of passion and excitement and love.
Yeah,
that's great. I mean, you can, you know, hold some kind of like non-attachment or what'll be, but it's, you know, there's no time or energy wasted, because if you love doing that thing and maybe it didn't work out, it might have led to other things, if you like, you know. Yeah. So that's like another way, like I look at it, because I'm the same as well. You know, if I'm excited about something, I've got to get it done.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's like getting I think what the awakening definitely did for me is brought that child sense back. It has started creeping back in the last few months, where I can have a laugh more.
Yeah.
Because there were a very serious part of the awakening. I couldn't laugh. I didn't find anything funny. I found everything serious, and it was all doom and gloom. But the part is where you start creating and you start to see. I had Michelle recently on the podcast, and she was saying it. I says, I think my gift is I see patterns. And she went, it's funny. She says, you look all around this room, in this podcast room, everything's patterns. So it's as within, so without. It's just you're projecting it out, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think, I mean, just going off my own personal experience, I think it's part of that journey of like expanding your consciousness, because I was the same, mate, with like conspiracies, and now that I'm kind of out of that stage, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good conspiracy, but at the end of the day, it is all external, you know, it doesn't really matter. But I think it's part of that stage, and a lot of people do get stuck there, don't they? They do get stuck in that conspiracy kind of mode.
It's hard because you can go on forever, because there's a new 100 every day, and the thing that I started to notice more is if I started watching one on my algorithm on the phone, then 20 would bob up. And then when that started doing it, it already changed my mindset into that. So then my lenses were on for conspiracies as I walked around. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of them, I know what's happening, but can I control it today? No. What I've listened just yesterday of the Know Thyself podcast, and what Greg Ryden was saying is just all we can do in this battle, because it is a spiritual battle between good and evil, whether we want to admit it or not. We know that there's hands that be that want to take us humanness, and there's ones that want to merge us with AI. Only thing we can do today, you don't need to know all ins and outs what's going on in the world. Are you showing up the best that you can? Are you doing the things that your highest self? Are you matching that frequency of what you can be? Are you staying away from, whether it's like for me, I keep on saying it with foods, and it's because it's my thing to get over. Everyone's got their own vices and virtues to stick to. Are you stopping? Like as we've just come into New Year, should I say, even though it's April 1st or whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what they should be shaving off. They already know because it's in the mind. What's that one thing that we shouldn't be doing? Some of them, it might be quitting cannabis to have a clearer mind. Some might be food. Some might just be smoking. What's that one thing that allows you to get up to your highest self? And that's the thing. You've got to do one building block at a time. That's where I see it anyway. Rather than like I were going, oh, it's Rothschilds and it's all this and that. Fuck that. You can't do all about them right now. Only thing you can do is show up better than you did yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's taking your power back.
It's almost as if as well, it's like, you know, if we were talking about manifesting, you mentioned manifesting. Well, if you're putting your awareness on these conspiracies all the time, well, aren't you like the cause of that in some way or another, you know? But for me, it's played its place very well. I went down this deep rabbit hole through a YouTuber. I was on his podcast recently called Chris Thrall. He's rowing across the Atlantic Ocean right now to raise money for veterans. He's got like a Starlink and he's doing live streams and that.
I think I just watched it over there. Yeah,
he's crazy, isn't he? But even though he does cover like a lot of like conspiracies, but he always brought up this frequency chart in his videos. That, you know, like the upside down triangle with the different frequencies, like fear, shame, and all that.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, and it always used to like confuse me. That I was like, hey, what's this frequency, spiritual shit he's going on about? And I'm glad he did that, because that led me to looking into that and like, you know, what actually is that. So it is a funny one, isn't it? But it only gets you so far, you know what I mean? And like you said about manifesting, if we're always putting our attention and awareness on like the conspiracies, that's
you're externally your power. That again, it's you're exhausting any power that you have, where you could be using that power for you to turn up better in that world. Like there's things like whatever it is that you've got to give up, it takes energy to give it up. It does. And so if you're externalizing all your power on like, oh, that's going on, this is going on, and you're telling everyone else, how much energy are you wasting on that? It's just not getting anywhere. And then obviously you're pushing people away from you as well, because no one wants to be around a negative Nelly.
No, they don't. Yeah, I'm more interested in having like a conversation. This is why I love doing the podcast. I'm not necessarily doing it for other people. I'm doing it for myself. It's just another way I can add some more self-love, is either by expressing, you know, our experiences or listening to someone. You know, and having an exciting conversation with someone. I'd rather have meet in the middle ground and have like a really enthusiastic conversation with someone, rather than just going down that like negative, like, you know, the rabbit hole, if you like. Yeah,
well, that's what I try to do when I see anyone now. I just try to make things light-hearted rather than drag it down. Try and make them look at life at a different angle with a bit of humour. Like this morning, that we were getting out, 'cause we've been snowed in under and it were all icy this morning, and this woman like, oh bloody hell, I'm fed up with this stuff, and I went, yeah, I don't wish it away, it'll be raining again next week, and she just went, you know what, you've just made my day. And I'm like, it's just through humour, like.
Yeah, that's a powerful tool.
What's that, sorry?
It's a powerful tool, humour, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. If you can put a smile on someone's face and make that a little bit of a change, because that might have just changed their mindset for the rest of the day. She might, oh, it's not actually that bad, you know?
Yeah.
You take the mind off what it is, because I think it's a scare. A lot of people are stressed and stuff now, aren't they? About money or whatever it may be, and you can see it's tightening the grip, and people are really worried. And if they understood how the banking system and stuff works, they may be able to realise that it's all a Ponzi scheme, and they're able to step out of that and realise the thing that's always holding me is you always know you're being held by the universe if you're doing good. It's always watching, whether you're picking up that litter or whether you're. People tried to go around the system, think they're getting. We were working at a woman's house yesterday, and she works for an insurance company. And she says people try to fraud all the time. I'm like, if they knew that the eye in the sky, the universe, whatever it, the creator is always watching, always taking note, just like kids with Santa think Santa Claus is. Everything's been noted, and that's the karmatic wheel. You know that you're going to be held if you're doing all these good deeds. It doesn't matter, but this world that we live in now wants instant gratification, instant validation, should I say? And it's not how it works, is it? And that's what I'm on about. The better that you are in the day, you'll be put out of bad situations. It's just not. It's not instantly. That's manifesting. That is how you manifest everything.
So there's a little bit of a synchronicity there with talking about karma and stuff. And I was talking to a good friend yesterday over on Instagram, and I never really thought about this, but you know, like when we understand karma and you know we practice mindfulness and whatnot, we really notice it more in other people, and we want to help them so much. You know, like we really want to help them. And I always seen it as, you know, well, if I help them, they're going to look at me as like their external like savior, but it's down to them like internally. But I didn't actually think of this, and it's hard, especially when it comes to family. But maybe they're down that path of they have to live out their karma, and that's really hard to grasp.
Yeah. What? Give me an example. So you're saying if.
So I don't want to get too personal, but so say for example, family, right?
Yeah.
We'll see patterns, negative patterns, negative cycles that they're consciously choosing to do, and we can see it, and we want to help them, even though we can't. But maybe they have to. It's hard to like kind of accept and grasp this, but maybe we have to just let them live out their karma. You know what? That's like that just clicked for me. I was like, I didn't really see it that way. What do you think of that?
For me, I call stuff. I speak truth, and if it's going to get me burned,
yes,
it gets me burned.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm tough love with people, and they either love you or you don't. And the harsh reality of it is, you know you're doing better for them, and if they walk away, I've noticed what it's done a lot of times with me, even when I've used tough love. You think that you're doing wrong at first, but when they'll take the send off for a while, and then they'll self-reflect on what's happened, and they'll see they'll see the pattern themselves. Don't you go then pander up to them and like, oh, is it you all right? Just let them see it out, and that I think karma will then sort itself out anyway, because you're coming from a loving place. You're not. Yeah. There's a very fine line, isn't there, between being nasty with truth and actually being loving with it.
Yeah.
But that's my spin on it. That's how I handle things. So
no, yeah, no, I'm with you completely, especially about speaking your truth. Yeah, it's a funny one, karma, because if you come at it from a loving place, you're not harming anyone. But do they still, maybe they have to live out karma in this life, and like the next life they might, you know what I mean? What do you think about that? Like, what do you think of karma?
The only thing with that is I see it as, when I get that in my head to say so, I see it as that's an angel, an angle of light coming from me to speak to him.
Yeah.
And I think the only time you've got a blockage, and when you don't say it, is when and I've seen not many people say the throat's been hurting and it feels like it's clamming up, because the throat chakra gets blocked, because they're not saying what they should be saying. They know that they should, because it's coming from a loving place. Depends where it's coming from, doesn't it? Is it coming? Are you being reactive? Are you being reactive because they've pissed you off in some way? And then that's not same as loving place, is it? It's an hard.
Yeah. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you set a boundary from a loving place for you, and then they've just completely just fucked off?
Yeah. I've I think
Weird one,
I'd
isn't
like
it?
to say I've set a lot of boundaries in the last few years, and things have worked out better than they would have done if I hadn't have
Yeah.
done. I did with a family member, and I says I'm going to cut ties and stuff unless you change your behaviour. Me and my family are off the table, X, Y, and Z. And everyone else called me all names under the sun, and it hurt me at the time. It really did hurt me because I didn't know if I was doing the right thing, but I knew what were happening at the time wasn't working, and everyone were just carrying on as it was normal. And I said, "Nah, wait, me and my family's off the table now." And since that, it took a couple of months, but since that, it's come back tenfold, and it has brought us all closer. But that was a hard decision for me, and it really did tear me up because I was praying on it, and I was sitting with it and asking if this is the right thing to do. With no answer back by anything, it was just patience and knowing that I like to have that blind faith that we were all going to be all right, and it did come all right, and it's gone from strength to strength really.
Getting a little bit of hairs on my arm there sticking up because something so similar has happened in our own personal life where we've just had to cut ties with family members, unfortunately, and
it hurts, mate.
we still struggle to accept it. But the way I see it, where as each day goes by and we try and see it for what it is, we're allowing more energy to come into our lives now. You know, instead of continuing patterns.
Yeah, well, that's what it does. It breaks an ancestral line within it. It stops and says, no, there's a different way. How can we get different results with the same mindset? It doesn't happen. And this is what I'm trying to stress to a lot of my family members. They're like, some of your ways are out of whack. And I'm like, your ways are always the same ways, and it's not getting any results. I tried to boil it down with my old man and say Leeds United was trying to go out and play football. Same 11 every week. They won for 20 games, and then they stopped winning. Would you carry on to play that same team unchanged until when? When are you going to change it back? You know, if they're getting beat every week after that,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's same as your mindset. You'd shuffle the deck, but no one. It's a broken. It's stuck in that same pattern of repeating it, and that's the way. You've got to try. The hardest way to try and get it down is to try and make it relatable to people, and that's where you've got to try bridge gap. And I think that's what I've tried to do a lot of the time is try to see how you can make it relatable to them.
Yeah,
and it's not. They always say I've got an answer for everything. That's what.
It's so real though, this ancestral karmic patterns. Like Christmas is just gone. Christmas time happens, all the family gets together. And I've really seen it as clear as day now. I'm like, holy crap. This is like not a joke. This is not woo. This is real. Patterns exist. Ancestral karma exists.
Yeah.
You know, we need to start doing something different. And
how do you find Christmas?
Oh mate, this Christmas was a bit of a funny one, like, but on reflection, everything happened on how it was supposed to. But I'm just glad we had Christmas Day just together, just with my family.
Oh nice.
But I love Christmas for the kids, for my two boys. Yeah, I think I want to make it really magical. But yeah, there's a lot of pain around family, like Christmas time, you know.
Yeah.
In others and myself as well, you know, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, it was a wild Christmas. How was yours?
All right. Do you know what? I can't get on board with it. I've tried. And when I've had Sam on the other day, and I always say I try to, and he's like, that means forcing. I don't like the biggest lie that we ever tell as kids is about some. We say it's magical, but it's all based on a lie. And when they get older, I see it as we lied to them on that level. And I love the part of the Christmas of getting together. I think that's brilliant. But in my family, and I'd say in a lot, it's more about getting drunk and being gluttonous. And
Yes.
creating, and I think what I've tried to explain to Zoe is children, when they get older, will be drawn to scenarios and situations that are normalised. So my family have always been big drinkers, and I became a big drinker, and it led me down the path of drugs or whatever, and all the rest of it. But if we keep on taking them into these places like Christmas time and everyone's just getting pissed, what are we're normalising to be arsehole? And I don't get it. And now that I see it all, I'm like, it's not right. I don't think, in my eyes anyway.
No, yeah, another synchronicity, mate. That's what I was kind of alluding to. Is like, yeah, that's probably never going to happen again. We're not going to put ourselves in that situation again.
We see it too much.
The thing that I do like about the holidays is it kind of takes the edge off the seriousness of like this matrix. You know, people are a little bit more looser, I suppose. And if people could just realize that you can live every day like that, it would be a good thing. But yeah, with the kids and stuff, you know, we say Santa, but really we're just starting, because I've got a 3 and a 1-year-old. We're starting to say the universe now. You know, like the universe will give you this, whatever. Or me, and you know, when they get older, we can explain it more. But I remember being told Santa was a lie. Oh mate, I was devastated.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
It's a big, and it's the thing is, they say it's the #1 best holiday of the year. So that's what they're saying to kids from get-go, and then that's the biggest lie that you're gonna be told. That's how I see it as, and once you see what truth is, it's like, I don't know. There's loads of double binds. I think, like, I hear a lot of times, and kids are like, snitches get stitches. I'm like, so that tells them never to tell truth when they see something bad's going on.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why corruption happens and all the rest of it. It's funny how it ties up.
It's one of the reasons why we're deciding to homeschool as well.
I'd love to. That's the aim for us.
What's it like in the UK to homeschool? Is it like difficult, or you know?
At the moment, it's not feasible for us at the moment. But
yeah,
this is where I've got many ideas of. I want to build something, not tear school down, but build a better system, or make it more affordable. And the world that we're heading into next 10 years, well, no, it's even shorter than that. AI is going to cut so many jobs. It's going to take so many jobs out. So we're going to have to find some way of schooling as kids without the system. And it's finding that how it merges, isn't it? And I'm seeing some good stuff in schools. They're starting to do days where they take them into like nature 1 day a week, which is good. There's an idea that I wanted to get up off at ground. Once we get this up and going, I want to get grandparents going into schools and teaching them how to grow food. Because I think if you can, I think grandparents and grandchildren have got this special bond that it really does let them see mirrors of things that have happened to them, and it really merges stuff together, and it makes them have a bit of more well-being. Because I think a lot of people, when they get to retirement, they haven't got a right what's going on, but they have got that knowledge, and it's to be passed down.
That's really weird, that, because with the kids' grandparents just aren't really there. What you would think, you know, like they're retired. What are they even living for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you see so many people getting up to retirement, and they're shit scared of retirement. It's like this big goal that they wanted to get to, and as it dawns closer, they're like, fucking hell, you know, and they don't know what to do because they've not found any purpose.
No.
They've not realised that it's not about them having it all. It's about giving back. It's about, and this is what I was reading about. I was listening to Know Thyself podcast the other day, and that's what they said about women when they're going through menopause and stuff. They're going through another transformation. And what the elderly women used to do is then they'd go off to other tribes and they'd start teaching them about all the things that they've learned. because that's what they were supposed to be doing, and they're supposed to exercise more and be really looked after because they've done all the birthing, and it takes a lot of energy up. But it's about passing down the next lot. But we're all trying to rekindle as youth. They're all trying to get Botox, or everyone's scared of aging when it's a process of life. There's two things: we'll be born and we'll die, and it's how you spend that time. It's not about trying to go backwards to being, it's difficult, isn't it?
I really think this in the next year to 5 years, I think people are going to need people like you and I are going to need these communities, and I think our job, or not our job, but something what I'm kind of experiencing is I'm wanting to find people who I have a connection with who have like some form of emotional intelligence as well as mindfulness, because energy is so important. And if we're going to start a village, it can be quite a dangerous situation if you just start it with anyone, you know what I mean? So it's coming together, man. Like, even this live has such a profound effect energetically. Like, I really believe that.
Yeah, well, I think I truly believe we're heading back to a time of Atlantis, because I don't think Atlantis was just one spot. I think they were all over the world, and I think that's what we're about to get back. But it's on a knife edge whether we go the Terminator route, where it's all fucking doom and gloom and it ends, or it's going into the golden age. But I think the more that, and this is what the beauty and the power lies in. It lies in you. It don't lie in anyone else. It lies in you.
Yeah.
How you merge that gap from you and your highest self, and you've got to shave bits off of yourself. And it's one that I've been saying quite recently is, when Tom Hardy had rang up Charles Bronson, or vice versa, and he were on about that little boy that were drowning, and he went, "It won't happen to me, Tom." He said, "I'd have fucking cut a piece of me off." That's where we're heading. I feel like we're heading through this next 5D or whatever we're going to be heading into this new world. It's like that, and we've got to cut off the fucking stuff that doesn't serve us anymore. If we know on a conscious level that food does not fucking bring us up to that energetic level, it's got to go. It's whatever and everyone knows. When I'm saying this, everyone knows what that piece of them is that needs to go. It'll know it's up there, and it's letting it go and giving it love and going, "This don't serve me anymore. This is how I get closer to my highest self." And everyone knows what that next step is, but no one else can walk that step for you but you. So
exactly, yeah.
It's daunting but empowering at the same time. It's which one you're going to be fixating your mind on.
I made a bit of a. So I don't know if you know, but I've set myself this challenge for the month of January, right?
It caught back end of it.
Yeah. So basically, I go out just in nature, do a bit of grounding, and take the dog. I mean, we live on the back doorstep of a beautiful
it looks lovely,
forest and nature reserve, and just have a little walk, 10-20 minute walk, and just do a 5-minute body weight workout, just press up, sit ups, and squats, right? And I'm just doing that for the month of January. And if I told myself a year, I probably wouldn't have done it. I think I'm day 4 or 5 in now. Came to day 3, I was so sore because I've been lazy. I haven't been exercising, and that's okay. But I didn't want to get out of bed, mate. I just the kids were asleep having a nap, and I was like, I'll just lay down and just procrastinate a little bit, self-soothe or whatever. I was feeling a bit sorry for myself. But your heart knows, your soul, your higher self will tell you, that little angel and devil in your head will say, you set out this intentionally, and you probably should get up and go, and just go and do your routine. And I did it, mate. And these little small victories, or whatever you want to call them, have such a profound effect. So huge. But I will say, even if I didn't, if you don't shame yourself and you accept it and you see it for what it is, that's also big as well.
Yeah, that's the where you're just mentioned on that last one. I would beat myself up. But the last few years, if I didn't do something, I'd beat myself up and spiral myself down. Well, now what I'll do is, I didn't get up on Monday for a workout, and I had a podcast, and it was like trying to cram it in, and I was crucifying myself with it, and I noticed my head going lower, and I'm like, just forget about it today. That exercise ain't going to happen. Just let it go. It doesn't matter where you try to fit it in, it's going to cause enough stress. Tomorrow, we're going to do it better. Tomorrow, we're going to get up and do it. And I did. It's about looking at it and going, right, where did we learn from today? Let's dwell, because dwelling is going down the well into a puddle of shit.
Yeah.
So it's about looking where you can be 1% better the next day and don't beat yourself up. And it takes, sometimes it takes a lot of time for you to be sat in it and go, this isn't work, this is terrible, because it did for me. I'm very analytical on myself anyway. I didn't get up and do a workout today because I'm doing this juice cleanse, and I didn't beat myself up. I woke up at 6:30. Normally, I'm up at 3-4 o'clock. It's just I go to bed early and get up early. And you know what? I listened into my body and went, if I wake up at 6:30, that means that I'm knackered. My body's rejuvenating. I'm not here to punish it. I'm here to clean it. I'm here to, yes, exercising and stuff, you're supposed to ache, but you're not supposed to completely punish it to the point of not being able to use it.
Yeah. It's all self-love, isn't it? Self-love is just, it's so powerful, and it can look like exercising, it can look like not exercising and listening to your body. It can look like, having a chocolate bar every now and again and not beating yourself up, not shaming yourself for having that chocolate bar. Yeah. It's all love. Really is. It is the key, isn't it? It is the key.
It is. I think everyone's got their own ideas on stuff, haven't they? Like for me, I know you say just the chocolate bar. For me, it's like selling a heroin addict to have one last go on that. I have one chocolate bar, and it's like the doors of hell will open. That is my. It's my worst thing that I could do, and people don't get it. But it's like that's my vice. I've knocked everything else on it. So that my self-love is to give that up. But everyone else's is different. You probably can control yourself. If you eat one chocolate bar, you're probably not going back to shop and buying shitloads more.
If they're in the house, they're gone. Yeah. Cecilia, my wife, she's read a few books about like addiction and stuff like that, and to really like get a grasp on addiction, it does boil down to self-love. I really believe that. Yeah.
So normally, there's something there missing, isn't there? Or there's something of lack, or there's something underneath it. There's always an attachment underneath it. I had Sean on the podcast recently, and he was saying about cocaine addiction that he had, and the therapist said it was the best thing that ever happened to him, and he couldn't get his head around it, and she went, it's been your coping mechanism. It's been your coping mechanism. Otherwise, you'd have been dead. That's been your lifeline. Otherwise, like whatever it is underneath it, you haven't been able to bear. So it has been your crutch. And it's like that. Even for me, hearing it at first, I like it was mad, but I can see how it's worked. Not that.
Funny one with that. My wife's addiction to cope, because the last 4 years have been an absolute roller coaster. I mean, we sued the US government, mate. I could go into it, but it was a stressful time, especially while she was pregnant. And one of her coping mechanisms was buying crystals. Right. I don't know if you can see, but I mean, she's got a lot of crystals, right? But now she has a healthy relationship, I suppose, and she's turned it, transmuted that into a business, and she doesn't really buy him that much. And she's, for herself, it's to sell and to form connections and stuff. So it is a funny one, isn't it?
Yeah.
The universe works in weird ways.
Yeah, definitely. So how long have you lived out in the US for?
Oh, coming up about 5 years. It will be soon, yeah.
What made you move out there then?
Love.
Yeah.
It was, my wife's from America, and mate, so much to unpack here. But we decided that we wanted to live there basically, and we had a lot of from her side of the family. Oh yeah, come over, like we'll support you and all that. And none of that didn't happen, which is all right because everything's planned out the way it was meant to. But it was a really stressful time, mate. You know, like trying to sort out immigration in the midst of COVID while she was pregnant, and I think we flew over when she was like 30 weeks pregnant or something like that, and it was like cutting it close, but divine intervention or whatever you want to call it, we ended up suing the government and winning because they were letting like celebrity visas and athlete visas fly during the midst of COVID, but they were like family visas, nah, you don't matter. So we ended up suing them, winning them, getting expedited and making it, mate, you know, without taking any shot or anything like that as well, fortunately. So it's a bit of a mad one, but we both really miss the UK. We really miss that energy, and we lived in the North Yorkshire Moors whilst we were there. Beautiful. Love the countryside. My favourite place on the planet.
Yeah, well,
and
Yorkshire us. But yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it?
It's unreal, mate. I've been around the block. I know I only look young, but I've travelled to different countries and that, and there's just no place on the planet like the North Yorkshire Moors or like the UK. And we had a chat, and we're like, why not have the best of both worlds? And we can go back if we want, you know, like we can go back and forth. So anyway, we'll see. But I might be coming to you soon in the physical, and we can have a podcast together. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool. Where are you on about staying? Are you on about buying somewhere?
I don't know if we'll probably buy because we're not quite there yet financially. But we both work from home. My business is growing. Cecilia's business is growing. We've got so many things we want to do. We'll probably just maybe rent out like an Airbnb. Who knows? You know, for like a whatever to start with, you know. But why not have the best of both worlds?
Yeah, it sounds it. I think I want to go traveling. I definitely want to go traveling because I want to experience different cultures and experience different cultures. Not just going and stopping in fancy hotels. I don't want that. I want to go experience different cultures and see how they do things, and then take the good things and bring them back and share the knowledge. I think that's what it's not a think. I will end up doing it, but because you are giving in return, aren't you? You're gaining the knowledge, and then it's your gift to share. I think that's what it's all about. Is whatever knowledge you do possess, share it, because you never know you're helping at all.
Well, I remember the first time I went to Kenya. It was when I was in the army. I went to Africa, and just seeing the way they live, and then you know to realize that actually most of the world actually lives like this. You know, I don't want to say like third world or whatever, but it's nothing like the West. But people are smiling, people are cracking on, you know.
I think those who have little aren't that bothered about it. I felt this week, and I don't know how you feel. I feel too plugged in. I feel like there's too many tabs open all the time. Like tonight, when I walked through doors, Zoe went, "You look like you could go to bed," and I said, "You know what? I know I could, but I says I'll kick myself if I didn't go on the podcast." And it feels like when you pick your phone up, it's like all these messages. It's always too much. You know, like you just want to go put it to the side and unplug a bit, and just have a week of no phones, no attachments to anything, and just really sit in it. I think that's when it knocks me out of balance. It's too much. Life can be too much anyway, but you're constantly plugged in or getting notified or prodded off. I don't know if you feel like that.
No, 100%, mate. I'm not too sure on your like situation, but we decided a few months ago that, you know, at least 1-2 days in the month, we're going to go out, you know, whether it be stay in the tent, in the car or hotel or whatever, no phones at all, no technology. And that helps balance things for me.
Yeah.
But it is a lot, man. We do. I'd love to do like a week's Vipassana retreat or something like that. I think that'd be class.
Yeah.
I think that'd be so good.
Yeah. What's the ones where it's silence?
Yeah.
I wanted to go to one of them, but
Yeah.
it's hard when you're a family man and you've got all these things going on. It's like you feel like you're torn. I mean, once we get this up and running and it starts to makes enough revenue for me to do these things and document them, because that's what I kind of want as well. Is like show people how things are, like the things I am experiencing. I don't know if it's totally vlogging it, but maybe make it into movies or whatever. But I think the main thing for me with this podcast is my big idea at the moment is for people, whoever comes on the podcast, I've got plenty of ideas. It's just about birthing them.
Yeah.
So when I get to a point of so many people that I've had on my podcast, I'm going to start a group, but I not have anyone else that can talk at the start. And I might put an idea out and say, put your hand up if you fancy this project that I've got going on. And if 4 people say, yeah, I really like that. Right, okay, 4 of you, we'll all meet up next week. I'll give you a blueprint, but I want all 4 of you to see it the way that you see it and go away. Don't talk to each other, but go away. Write up how you think it should be or how it can be made better. Let's come back the week after and let's all collaborate. See who's got best idea. Let them take the fold of it, the leadership, and all of us back it and get behind it and make it work. Because I think that's collaborating on such a high level of everyone gets to be a bit creative and everyone gets to chime in a bit. But you make your idea that you brought from the universe, you get everyone else to chip in. So it's not exactly. I've never wanted to be a boss, as of such, and I think that's the thing that I like most. Everyone gets to be creative. You all get to be like child. It's like being back at school, but it's been fun. You're making fun stuff.
It's like we were talking about. I think that's how we're actually meant to live, like as a community, you know. But I don't want to say no one, because I think there is a shift happening. I think people are coming back to that. But everyone just lives their own separate lives, you know. People aren't even waving to one another on the street anymore, saying hello, especially the younger generation. You know, I mean, I'll be 30 this year, so I'm not like, you know, I'm not young by no stretch of the imagination. But like some of the younger kids, it's weird. Like it's different.
Well, they'll go around to each other's houses and they don't even talk. They're just on the phones. It's that disconnect. They feel like, in reality, that they think they're connected and they're disconnected. And it's just being aware of what's going on, because I were on about that podcast that I'd listened to yesterday, and it were on about the transhuman, and that's where they want us, kind of thing. And then it bobbed up this morning. I showed Daz straight away that the Neuralink now will be going on sale for us, the price of a iWatch. And you think how many people are going to sign up to that? If they know they can play the computer game with no setup, it's all, they don't know what they're giving up. We don't know what it's like to be truly human yet. I truly think, well, you've seen, I don't know if you've seen it, all telekinesis is coming back. People are starting to practice real spiritual gifts. And people are trying to give that away before. They don't even know what they're giving up, these young ones. They don't. And I have done in that mindset, being younger. No, I'd probably give it up as well. Because it seems like it's a great idea. And I think Rob Brydon said that, not Rob Brydon, I forgot his name. He was saying about, it's gone. My head's just gone.
And the thing is, it's like, this is why, like, it's so important to practice what we're doing, so we can pass this on to our kids, so they don't end up, you know, being easily led or whatever, you know, because it's just, like we said about the light and dark, it is dark, that. Like, to do that, it is dark. And you know there's going to be a dark motive about it, and they're going to sugarcoat it and be like, oh, you can play on your Xbox just by, you know, closing your eyes or whatever, you know, whatever, God knows. But
what were great, what Daz said, who we were working with today, he said there were a bloke he were an amputee, and he has the headset and he's been playing on games, and he says it's boring. He says it's boring. He says, in the top 1% of every game. He says because everyone else uses a
Wow.
controller and the hand. As soon as I'm looking at it, I kill them or whatever straight away. He says it's that reactive. He says so I can't play on any tournaments. And after you've played a few hours, like a few weeks on it, he says you're top in everything. He says unless there's a new league, but I'm like that's what they want.
Yeah,
It's
weird,
it's
isn't
hard,
it?
isn't it? It's like trying to unplug from it and get back with nature and build communities on back of it. Like I'm really interested at the moment. I don't know if you've seen Charlie Webb's. They do them tree webs, don't they?
Oh, right.
Have you
No,
seen
I
where they
don't
build
know.
the nets within like trees, and it's like it's all blokes doing it with father and sons, and they're building them
Yeah,
up. I'm like, I could play for hours doing that, and I've spoke to other dads who go hiking with, and they're like, that'd be brilliant.
yeah.
I'm like, it's just little things like that. Get them out in nature, playing. It's not that hard.
No, it's not. It's literally not, is it?
They open up so much more.
I've even noticed with my two boys. All right, yeah, they watch TV. Sometimes they watch cartoons. Right, it is what it is. But what I've noticed is that they are so much more happier, and so are we when they're actually out physically playing, or even if it's in the house with the toys. That like they're just more. I don't know what it is. It's just they're more engaged. Yeah.
Drop the guard as well. They'll talk more. They drop the guard and they'll talk a lot more. If you're out on a walk, just open up. It's because it's addictive. Is TV, isn't it? You watch them when
Yeah.
you walk in front of TV. They're just. I am. If it's not, even if something shit's on that I don't want to watch, I'll sit and watch. You just end up being mesmerised by it.
Yeah, and that neurochip thing, it's basically you've got a TV, but it's always in your head. You know what I mean? It's
What
it's
happens when you
it is
don't pay
wild.
it?
Yeah,
What happens
exactly.
when you
Yeah,
don't pay it? They
yeah.
just turn you off. It's crazy.
It'll be all in the small print, won't it?
Yeah. Well, it's scary. They were on about all the testing. They've had to release what happened through the testing on the chimps, and they didn't. He didn't get to the bottom of it. He said it wasn't nice, and they didn't. They went through many lawsuits to even not release what had happened. But you're giving up your humanness. Like I say, they don't even know what consciousness is yet, and we're all connected on these levels. And once you've seen the patterns of all that happening, why would you want to give it up to AI? They're trying to recreate what we are. If you can see that, well, that's what they're trying to do. You
They
can't
must be so
recreate
desperate,
it.
mustn't they? They must be
Well, it's
so desperate.
Antichrist, isn't it? That's exactly what an Antichrist is. It's against humanism. It's about against being human, and you're trying to recreate and clone or whatever. It's just wrong. But
I was talking about this earlier. It's like every time they push some like more fear down people's throat, that is a huge opportunity for more people to wake up and for that kind of harmonic energy, universal harmonic energy to be more in line in harmony. Because if there's going to be some bad fear, there's got to be something good to counter that, because that's just how the universe works. You know what I mean? And just like humor as well, like laughing at it.
For us now is we've seen the truths, and it's about grounding in and showing people there's nothing to fear, and death's only an illusion, isn't it? Like I can, who knows
Yeah,
what's
it is.
after this, but if we keep on replaying it, which I'm pretty sure we do, and I know it's a computer game, 100%. I know it's a computer game. It is one big game, is this? And once you get that fear of death out of the way, you can't be controlled.
No,
You just can't.
I
Because there's
was having
nothing to scare you.
I did it. I don't know. I did it live, but I also was having a chat with my friend who he was in the army as well. We both like served together, and when I moved to America, I was still very much in that conspiracy mode and fear mode, and I went out and bought guns, Craig. You know what I mean? I got myself like a rifle and a pistol and like ammo and all that stuff. And now I'm looking to let all that go, sell it all, and invest that money into my business, into something positive, because I did that on a foundation of fear.
Yeah.
And some people are going to be like, whoa, what the hell? And I was having this chat with my friend, and he was like, well, yeah, but you need them in America. What if someone shoots you, or if someone's got a gun? And I'm like, well, then they shoot me, don't they? And I die. Then what? You know,
Yeah.
which it does sound mad, but I mean, we can't. It is a spiritual battle, and we can't fight this physically. You know what I mean? It's not going to work because it's never worked that way.
No, it's about having trust. That's like the main thing for me. Is if you're doing all the things that you know you should be doing, you're guided away from it. Like Zach from Embodied Celestial, when I was listening to what he was saying, was beautiful. He said, if he went to the mall tomorrow and he was shot dead in that mall, he knows that it's his own fault. It's no one else's. He says because he's out of alignment with who he is. Because if you are doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing, you know, like when you heard about 9/11 or someone was supposed to get on a train or in a car, and just by some miraculous reason they didn't go. Like they got a stomachache or something, just put them off. That's you being guided. That's your guides. So the more that you're in alignment with yourself, the more that you're guided. You don't have to fear. And that the thing that rings through with what he was saying and what the Bible says, the most coined term is "do not fear." So if you do not fear and you're doing what you know is right, and that's what the price is to pay with your consciousness waking up. You are consciously aware of what you should be putting in your body, what you're not putting in your body, your light body. And how you access your light body is shaving off the shit that doesn't fit. And there's some hard truths, because we all don't want to fucking give up these nice pleasures. You've got to be, I think Jesus was saying, you've got to overcome the world. You've got to be in the world, but overcome the world. Don't have it to all its pleasures. And that's what he was trying to say. But a lot of people don't want to cut off certain parts of them. And it is an hard one, because it's all fucking things I enjoy doing. I've had to cut a lot of shit out. And it...
Yeah. Oh, we could definitely talk about this. Talk about this all night. It's kind of like what the Gnostics believe, isn't it? You know, they believe that the material world is an illusion, and you should overcome the material world. Which I do agree, but I also had this realization of we're not meant to necessarily overcome it and fight it. We need to integrate with it and love it and transmute it that way. You know what I mean? Because we're human at the end of the day. We can't say, all right, I'm giving up all the food. I'm never going to eat again, or I'm never going to, you know what I mean? Because we're human. Mm-hmm. But what we can do is actually, if we do those things, you know, that not necessarily is that we need to, or it's bad for us. We don't have to shame, and we don't have to follow these patterns. And I think every time we do that, it's a big snowball effect to the point where we will reach the 5D. Or what? Am I making sense here or not? You're making
sense. You're making sense. Like, I think everyone's got their own path to walk on. Like, I've spoken it a few times. I resonate with the Essenes. Like, my consciousness, how I were going through my awakening and the things that have happened to me lines up with everything that the Essenes were doing. And I didn't know that. Yeah. I've only found out who the Essenes were in the last year. But everything that I were doing, like I was personally praying to the water on the night or in the morning, doing my meditations. The one of the key things with the Essenes was they'd cut the family out as soon as they found what were like they were a higher power. And this is what happened with me and Zoe after that had happened with this presence of God, and I knew that it was there after I'd cried and all these synchronicities had gone on. I said to Zoe, I said, this is like, I'm sorry, but this is, I've got to follow this, because she went, I don't think I can do it again. You did it with conspiracy. And I said, whatever this is bigger than me and you, and I've got to follow it up. I didn't know what it was. This whole journey has just been out of blind faith. And that's what the Essenes were also saying, is that they had to leave the families or whoever didn't get behind what they were following, because they knew there were a connection to this higher power. And I think through it all is the Essenes even had to live out of out of the normal society because of they said they've strayed too far away from the path of the divine. And you look around today, it's even worse than what it was back then. Sinning is everywhere, isn't it? If you look,
What was that?
sinning is everywhere. Like porn, all the rest of it. All of it is to take your very essence. And that's the way I look at it on the certain. Like,
Yeah.
it's,
Well,
everything that's free, there's a big price tag to pay that we don't know or didn't know. Like, I'd like to think I do know. Well, I do know about giving. Not, I mean, I give up. And it might be too much information, but I give up masturbating about 2 years ago, just on the sole basis that I knew that it was giving up my life force. It's you cheating it, and the more that I've tapped into it, and the Kundalini awakenings, and using that power within your moon sign, there's so much stuff that got shown to me. And if you go, I could go on forever if we're talking about it, to be honest. But there were too many synchronicities of it all going on that led me up to how the Essenes lived and how my consciousness was. And it's I see it as I've got to get to the purest state as well that I can, and it is giving up stuff. And I've started to be kind to myself on the way because I tried to get in there in one foul swoop, and then you get rejected, and that's when you hurt more. And I don't know if you've heard about people doing the 40-day fast and stuff. That's where I know I am heading. I'm always stretching the band to get there. But it's a journey, isn't it? It's like, you're not going to do 40 days sitting at the start. You've got to keep on expanding that band.
Yeah. Yeah, it is mad. It's like, when you look at the world or reality, the reason that there's, like, I suppose, bad things or things out of harmony is because of, like, separation, isn't it? Everyone's living in separation. Well, not everyone, but most people are. Yeah. And what causes a separation? Well, it's the mind, isn't it? It's the ego. So, but we can't destroy the ego, Craig. I don't think we can. You know, people talk about ego deaths and stuff. I think what we need to do is not identify with the ego, you know, just become aware of it. Because if we destroy the ego, we'll be purely instinctual, and that could be very dangerous to some people.
Well, is that,
you know? So it's not to fight it.
Is that what your logo is? The dragon chasing its tail? Because it's essentially every time you're trying to get rid of the ego, you're getting rid of yourself.
Yeah, it's the symbology behind the Ouroboros, it can mean many things, but that is one of them that it can mean. Yeah.
Because everyone, like, I at one point, I need to kill ego. I mean, don't get me wrong, it got shrunk. It got shrunk with the once I'd done the psychedelics. It wiped out. But it were deprogramming programs that I believed about myself that weren't true. So that, like, if you want to call that ego, is that just programs that we've just took upon ourselves and deprogramming away from that to get more pure? I think and it's not reactive into the world, isn't it? That's what the state we need to get at, is don't be reactive. I don't take out personal anymore. I got a message this morning of someone commenting on one of my podcasts, and it was a lot of things. And I said to my colleague at work, and he says, "Did it bother you?" And I'm like, "No, because I can see everything that he said there is an internal battle he's got. I don't feel sorry for him. But I understand where he's coming from, and he can't see it himself. We've all there's that compassion to know that I've been there before, where I've outed someone or tried to tear someone down, and really it's I didn't know what was going on. It was an internal battle, and that's the love and compassion that I've been gifted now, is that I'm not going to react to it. Whereas a few years ago, I'd have got into a bit of a slagging match or whatever it be, and that shows your growth, doesn't it?
Yeah, something kind of happened like that over Christmas time with my wife and her brother. They got into, like, a screaming match, and I was trying to say, you know, like, you're both in an emotional reactive state. Just leave it, and they wouldn't. But it was a great opportunity for me just to just let it play out, and whatever's going on or being said here doesn't mean anything, you know. Yeah, it's when we practice these, like when we practice mindfulness and stuff like that, it really is such a powerful tool to be aware of your thoughts and your emotions and just sit with them as well. You know what I mean? We can't just get rid of them. I've got to sit with them.
Yeah, it's on such a level because like on this juicing fast, 2 days in,
Yeah,
I was getting self-doubt about everything, and I realised that that's when I've got to lean in harder. There's something wanting me to stop going through this next door. What is it that's wanting me to stop doing what I'm doing? Why is it flooding me with self-doubt at this moment? And it's like, because whatever's behind this door is going to be brilliant for me. And it's using that alchemy as well, and that awareness of what is it that's trying to put me off my path. Because now I use it as juice and fuel for the fire. So it's multi-layered, and I think every time I get to a point of thinking that I know quite a bit, you've got that other layer that just opens, and you're like, wow, there's so much more.
so how long are you doing the juice fast for?
12 days.
Do you know?
12 days. So I've done that was my last soup today. So I've either had soup and then 2 juices or herbal teas for 4 days. Tomorrow I start a 4-day water fast with enemas, which I've never done an enema before. So that'll be interesting. And then you're back on to the juices for another 4 days. But on the 14th, I've booked, because they said that it's really good, even though the enemas are good, it's good to get a colonic. So I'm getting a colonic, which I hadn't had before either. But I've heard, when he told me about this, and I resonate a lot with like Fourth, the Atlantean, they were saying the Egyptians used to do it years and years ago. When they watched the bird that's on top of Fourth from the night, when it got sick, it'd go up to the Nile, get water, and it'd squirt it up its ass. You know, like to clear it out, and that's where they got the idea.
That's funny, that, yeah.
And I was like, how did when I'd heard it, and I were already on this cleanse, because I was like, I needed to do something different, because I don't normally just do water fasts, but it's been really good. It's been really good you get a lot of emotions that stir up, and it is interesting. It is interesting. And I've not done a juice fast before, so I'm holding myself accountable that I'm going to do the 12 days and then see where it takes me.
Yeah, let me know how it goes, mate. I'd love to hear more about it, and yeah, keep up all the best of luck to it.
Yeah,
you know?
well, I'm going to put it in a short video as well, like once it's finished and complete, because I'm vlogging each day, and then I'm going to compile it into one small video, just to show people what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it. For me personally, it's like, I need to shave some stuff off that I don't want in my life anymore, and want to clear it out. And when people say how good they feel after doing these internal back cleanse as well as the internal one, why not give it a go? There's got to be something behind it, especially if I'm being put off my mind not to do it. You know what I mean? There's got to be something within it.
Let me know how that goes, mate, because that's something that I want to do. I don't feel called to do it yet. I'm pretty happy with how things are with doing these challenges and stuff. But yeah, it's like, you know, if you want to experience something, why not try it yourself? Like, you can't, you know, and see what it actually feels like. This is why this is what I just love about this life. It's like, you get told stories, and it's like, well, you know, do you believe them or not? Well, just go out yourself and experience it, and then you can see. You know, like some people are like, oh, spirituality is a load of shit or a load of woo. I'm like, yeah, but have you experienced it? Have you practiced it yourself?
This is what it is. You've got to fuck around to find out. And there's some things I've done I hadn't enjoyed, and you go, I'm not going to do that again. After this, I might go, fucking hell, I feel like I've never felt before, and I'll go, I might do this once or twice a year. You don't know until you find out. But people are so stuck in these patterns of doing the same thing day out. That scares me more to stay the same than not to do this other stuff. Like, I'm getting so much more out of the new modalities that I am doing, and breathworks or whatever it may be that I've added to my life. I feel better. I love having a mind to think. Yes, sometimes I think we've all had them days like, I think it was so much easier being unconscious. But there's not them new levels of joy or excitement experienced in that old mindset. It just wasn't there. I think I was so I wouldn't even. I think Joe Rogan really helped me listen to other points of view and how his interests like are so widespread. It brought down the walls for me to start looking at stuff and going, oh yeah, that's quite interesting. And I used to be it's football all the time or nothing or the boxing or stuck in this with blinkers on, not really experiencing anything out of life other than drinking football and going at just the norm.
I explain it to people like who just are like clueless on it, and I'm like, can you remember going back as a kid and just reality was just it was like friggin' magic. It was just like being a kid. It's just magical. That's what it's like, and getting that magic back. That's how I can explain it.
Well,
to people.
You're in a state of awe. I'm in a state of awe of everything that I hear. Like you're like, oh, that sounds really good. I'd like to have a go at that. Instead of just going, no, not for me. I'll stay in my lane. Worlds become all full of wonder, and that's being childlike, isn't it?
Says in scripture something like the words to the effect of, if you want to get in heaven, you have to become like a child or something, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I could fully see that. I could fully see it. But have you got any ideas to do a studio at your side then?
Yes, eventually. With our situation right now, we're renting from our neighbours, which are our landlords. They're unfortunately going through a divorce, so we're going to have to move at some point. Don't know when, don't know where, which is why I said, we've got our passports ready. Let's just go to England, and just, and that can sound quite mad to people. And I've fallen out with a couple of people, who I was talking about this. He lives in a lot of fear, bless him, and he was like, the spirit needs comfort. It needs to know. I'm like, that's not my belief. That we thrive off uncertainty. That's how you grow. That is how you grow. And actually, I've got a plan. It's to trust in the universe. That is my plan. So, mate, to answer your question, yes, but I don't know when.
Quality. That's what I like about it, though. The sense of awe and wonder of you don't know how the fuck it's gonna go.
It's exciting, man. It is exciting. I mean, and it's been a journey, especially with my own business and that, and not worrying like, oh fucking hell, am I gonna have enough to pay rent this month? And it's worked out every time. And I've had to pick myself up and really, use these tools to get my energy, behind me. And 2025 is going to be the year, man. I think it's going to be the year for all of us,
I think so. I think the one for me is whoever's been putting the work in is getting rewarded. It's just, it's slowly growing out of ground and it's going to be beautiful. Like, who knows what it's going to be? I think that's the ego trying to fixate what it's going to be exactly, but it's going to be beautiful because whoever's been putting the work in is getting rewarded. And I think the ones that haven't, they're paying the price. I don't know if you've seen that already in real time, because I am. The ones that are staying stuck in the mud and they can't find the way out, it's catching up with them. It's happening. But you can only tell people, try to change the mindset by looking at stuff differently. But if they don't want to, you can't force them to. And it's an hard pill to swallow, is that one, because I've got close family members, and it's like I can only do what I can do.
Well, that's where I had this click of like karma, of like, that might be their path in this life. Who knows? But it is happening. It is happening, man. I mean, it's not just our neighbours. It's friends, family, relationships are being destroyed everywhere. But at the same time, there's some really strong foundational relationships that I've come across now on this space, and it's beautiful to see. And it's people like you and I that are going to be that beacons of light for people. I really think that.
Well,
not from an ego point of view, but
yeah, well, that's what scenes like in the Dead Sea Scrolls when they pulled it out. That's what he was speaking on yesterday. He said when they pulled it out and Vatican had held on to it for 45 years, and they were like, "What's so important about it? It only got released in 1995 or something." And it pulled it out, and it said there were the sons of light against sons of darkness, and they'll have 7 wars, 7 things, but 3 sons of light will win, 3 of darkness, and then the last one will go down to the ones of light, and they'll triumph. But it's like, what are sons of light to you? Sons of light to me is anything where I light codes, where if I can see something be consciously aware of a pattern, I can reframe it, reprogram it, give it love, and get past it. And then I can share my experience with my fellow colleague or family member or friend and give them the glasses to see that. And they'll go, oh yeah, I see that synchronicity in my life. And they'll use the tools, and that's their light. And you keep on like lighting each other's candles as you're going through, and you get to walk through the dark. And there's some people who don't want that lighter, and they're just not going to have it because they're stuck in their ways of wanting to use their own lighter that don't work.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Try sometimes.
Anyway, Craig, it's probably getting late now, mate.
Yeah, no.
And I'd love to do this again sometime, but yeah, I don't want to take too much time from you.
Yeah.
So it's been great chatting.
Peace and love, brother.
Yeah, peace and love. Let's do it again sometime, man.
Yeah,
thanks for your time, brother.
Just drop us a
Appreciate
message
it.
and we'll sort something out.
Yeah. Okay, mate. And thanks for everyone who watched or tuned in. I'm going to put this on YouTube. For those who don't know, where can people follow you, mate?
Can find us on Instagram or YouTube. It's 108 Flow. It'd be mainly podcasts that we putting up, and there might be a little bit of content if I feel called to do so. But yeah, thank you for your time, and I hope
Happy days.
See you later, bud.
See you later, mate. Bye. Bye.